So I'd like to start by introducing myself and our panel. First of all, I'd like to welcome you all to, this is about the 15th year or something like that of Leaders Connect breakfasts. And as I tell the story, we started with Bob Quinn as a presenter. And as things come around, Bob Quinn will be presenting next month on his new book about teachers with his colleague at the University of Michigan Business School, Gretchen Spreitzer. So this is about the third or fourth time Bob will be presenting. And today we're very excited to have Bob Chunn presenting. Unfortunately, his partner, Chuck Newman, misread his schedule and said he had to be gone today because, if you believe this, he's on a cruise. That's the first thing, bummer. Second thing, he's with my favorite author and radio personality, Garrison Keillor. So we're not all feeling sorry for Chuck this morning, but it kind of speaks to the kind of guy that he is. Would go. This is his several years he's gone with Garrison Keillor on this cruise. It's something which is a little bit on my bucket list. By the way, speaking of bucket lists, I put something on my ice bucket list last week, which was speed skating on Lake Michigan. I don't know if you guys saw the poster. People were speed skating on Lake Michigan. I thought, one of those years, I'm going to try that. That sounds like it was fun. Anyway, this is a great program, and we're very honored to have hosts, Zingerman's businesses. One of them is the bakehouse that provides the food. We have also Coffee House, which provides the coffee. And we also have the Roadhouse, which provides the setting. So we're all very grateful. And we also have wonderful sponsorship from Bank of Ann Arbor. And Bank of Ann Arbor, of course, how many of you bank with Bank of Ann Arbor? I hope everybody out there. Several of us do, okay? And if you don't, it's a great place for local service. But I'm going to let Jackie tell us a little bit about it. And thank you, Jackie.
Good morning. Thank you, Rob. Welcome to Leaders Connect. My name's Jackie Jenkins. I'm part of the Trust and Investment Management Group at Bank of Ann Arbor. In my role at Bank of Ann Arbor, I get to do some business development, so I love to be out in the community. I spend some time with the nonprofit customers we work with. And then I also spend a good deal of time with a portfolio of corporate clients. I specialize in workplace savings plans, 401k, so frequently I'm out and about in the community and gently cajoling people to save more for retirement. It's a huge challenge for all of us. I'm thrilled to be here this morning. I just started coming to Leaders Connect this past year, right before Bank of Ann Arbor started our sponsorship. It's really a wonderful way to start a Friday morning. I come to these and I learn how much I don't know about so many different topics. It's such an accomplished group, and it's an energetic way to start a Friday morning. I pulled into the parking lot at 6:47. I'm not a morning person, so I feel like we all deserve a big pat on the head for getting here this early. So congratulations to all of us. I've already posted the good news on my Facebook page that I pulled into the parking lot ahead of schedule. But anyway, welcome this morning. Bank of Ann Arbor is thrilled to sponsor Leaders Connect, and I'm anxious to hear what Bob's going to tell us.
Thank you, Jackie. And a couple other people here from the bank. Mike Cole. Who else is here from the bank? Mike, anybody else? Okay. Heather's here. Okay. And I would, by the way, encourage people. We've been doing a lot this year on new media and on inbound marketing, content marketing. So please feel free to take pictures and tweet. For those of you, how many of you tweet in the room? Oh, quite a few. Okay. So it's Rob's Leaders. Rob's Leaders is my hashtag. And or if you want to post on Facebook or whatever, but it's kind of fun to share your learnings with other people. And Roger Rayle, in the black shirt there, raise your hand, Roger. He is our videographer, and Roger has a video business and helps people with new media issues. What's the name of your business, Roger?
Roger Rayle Virtual Ventures.
Roger Rayle's Virtual Ventures.
Yeah, like R2V for short.
R2B.
Yeah.
And we have a YouTube channel, so all of these events are on my YouTube channel, which you can access through my website, LeadersConnect.com. And Roger he's great, turns these around so that usually by Monday I'm able to post this on my Monday morning. Dr. Rob, if any of you don't get that, please let me know. I'd be happy to send that to you. But we put we'll have this week your PowerPoint, and we'll have the video. So for those of you who want to review it, or if you haven't had the chance to you want to share it with your people at work, it makes a great lesson for coworkers. So good way to spend lunch maybe together going over this. So I want to introduce a few other people. First I want to present, where's Donna? Donna, come on up with your book. And this is, today we're talking a lot about content marketing, and Donna has created content in the face of a book. And Donna, come on up and show the book. All right. Now, Donna has been working on this book for 25 years.
Yes.
25 years. And the book, which is a book for young adult, middle children, middle children.
readers.
I'll let you promote it in a second. But this is her first time promoting the book, and she's published the book. Just got the copies last week. Today.
Literally this
Yesterday,
Yeah.
yeah, right. So this is a really great accomplishment. Donna's been part of a writing group that's been meeting for 20 years, right?
Yep,
And
yep.
my wife Patricia is part of that group. And so Donna, tell us about the book.
Well, thank you, Rob. Oh, this.
Yeah, Mike, yeah.
Thank you, Rob. Yes, it's true. It goes way back in my, it's a true labor of love. And it's a story about early Ann Arbor for middle grade readers. And it's a story, coming of age story, a father-son story. But my inspiration, in addition to my own life experience, was wanting kids to enjoy reading history. And it's not, it's historical fiction, but it is set here. And I was just inspired living here and raising my children here to create this. And it was I had a great time doing it. It took so long for a lot of reasons, but I got back to it and decided one way or another I was going to complete this project. And so here I am.
So let's get Donna.
It's called You Lied to Me, Pa. And it's a story about trust, father-son trust issue. So
Donna, if people, did you bring any books with you?
a few.
A few. So can you stay afterwards to maybe sign a few? Should be first sign.
How long? We're actually leaving town today, but
Leaving town. You're going to go on a national tour? Or
I toured again.
when does Oprah want you? So this is a great book, though, for those of you that have kids or you want to donate to the school or the library. It'd be a great book, and I've had a chance to read it, and it's really exciting, and it's a quality book. So Donna, if we wrap up, hopefully you can stay for a few minutes. She's on her way to be grandparent.
Grandparenting job.
Grandparenting job for the weekend in Chicago. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob.
And let's see, we're going to go right down the line here. The next, we have every week a sponsor for every month a sponsor, a nonprofit that we don't ask for money for this event because of our sponsorships, but we do ask that maybe you consider donating to our sponsor of the month. And this month, we're talking about Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and I understand you have an event coming up, Monica. So this is Monica Branchow, who's the development director, and Steve Kleiman, who is development specialist. Okay, so maybe you could tell us what you have coming up and how people might be able to support you.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Rob. Just wanted to speak briefly about our biggest annual fundraiser coming up next month. It's Bowl for Kids' Sake. There's some material spread out on the tables for you to look at. Like I said, it's our largest national fundraiser, raising over $20 million annually for children in need across the country. And this year we're going to be holding the 23rd annual Washtenaw County Bowl for Kids' Sake on Saturday, April 18th at Colonial Lanes here in Ann Arbor on South Industrial. Again, that's Saturday, April 18th, Colonial Lanes. And by supporting it helps us make more matches between our bigs and littles, placing a caring mentor in the life of children in need in our community. We currently have about 200 children on our wait list, and money from events like these helps go to support those kind of matches, making more matches. And you can go to the website a2bowlforkidssake.org. You can sign up or register online, and there are 3 sessions to choose from on that day. And once there on the website, you can start your own team or join an existing one. Teams are made up of 4 people, and consider creating a team with friends, family, or coworkers. And each bowler is asked to raise a minimum of $75 in donations, and all event expenses are underwritten by our corporate sponsors, and that means 100% of the money raised goes directly towards supporting children served by Big Brothers Big Sisters of Washtenaw County. And the event webpage, once you sign up online, makes it really easy to send messages to friends and family, urging them to donate to your team, supporting your cause. And we actually also have a mobile app in the App Store and Google Play for fundraising on the go. Just search BFKS and it should show up there.
Money again, money.
And again, April 18th, come celebrate your fundraising success at Bowl for Kids' Sake at Colonial Lanes. You receive 2 hours of free bowling, shoe and ball rental included, a t-shirt, and a chance to win some great prizes. And please contact us if you are interested in signing up, becoming a team captain, or a corporate sponsor. And again, that's Saturday, April 18th at Colonial Lanes, a2bowlforkidssake.org. I also have brought some posters as well. If you would like to put some up around your work, just ask me. They're right over here afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'm just going to do one other plug. We are about to launch a campaign called 100 Mentors, and imagine if you see it printed, 100 Mentors with MEN being all caps in 100 days. And the reason that we're doing this is because, like Steve mentioned, we have 200 children on our wait list. And on average, 75% of those kids are boys. And they wait for 2 years. And the reason they wait for so long is because they're specifically waiting for a man to be a mentor in their life. So this campaign, 100 Mentors in 100 days, is really trying to get mentors, of course, but specifically male mentors. And so that's going to launch in the middle of March and go till June. So if you're interested in being a mentor to a boy, if you know any other men, if you own a company that would be willing to have us come and do a lunch and learn to a bunch of people that work at your staff that may be interested in being mentors, these are all things that are much needed in the community. We're very fortunate in Washtenaw County to have a lot of amazing things here, but not very far away are high schools that have 40% dropout rates. And so there is a need for these children who have economically disadvantaged situations to have these mentors and really have an impact on their life. So if you're interested in any of that, just see me when this is over. Thanks.
Thanks, Monica and Steve. So this is, by the way, at the beginning, for those of you, how many new people do we have here today? A few new people? Great. So this is Leaders Connect, and the first part is connecting. So this is an opportunity to have me highlight some great things going on in the community, and to continue that, I wanted, is Steve, let's see, we got John Edwards here too. John, come on up too, because I wanted, John Edwards is one of the founders of Edwards, not founders, but family members of Edwards Brothers. I think it was a few generations ago that you started. And John, maybe you could tell us a little bit what's happening with Edwards Brothers, because we know you're not on State Street any longer, but you still are around, and let us know what's going on.
Sure. Good morning, everybody. I didn't know that I had to talk today. And I'm not one of the founders because the company was started in 1893, so thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. I'm a fourth generation Edwards. We were on State Street until the end of December of this year. Our facility was right across from, as I tell people, right across from Howard Cooper Volkswagen, but that's not even there anymore. People thought, oh, I thought that was part of the U of M. What we are is a book printing company, so thank you. What you did there, we appreciate it when people are publishing books. We merged with a company called Malloy, which is on Jackson and Zeeb Road, and we consolidated all our operations there for the last 6 months. And we have about 450 people here. We also have a building a little west, the old H&H Pet Supply Company. We have that right across from Lowe's. We have that building too. We also have facilities in North Carolina, New Jersey, California, Chicago area. But you know what? When I tell people what we do, they say, "Oh, I feel so bad for you because you're making physical books." Well, if you notice, there's a bunch of Zingerman books in the front lobby there. Those were all made down the street. We have a book that we just shipped a couple weeks ago, Dr. Phil, The 2020 Diet. It's #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. The thing I love about diet books is they don't work. about that is there's a new die that's coming up and we need a physical book, so that's a beautiful thing. But generally what we do is very short run titles. So one of our big customers is ProQuest here in town. And anybody here have a PhD? So did you do a dissertation?
Yeah.
How many copies did you order?
One.
Actually, the typical order is 4 copies. One for your mentor, one for your library, one for your house, and who gets the 4th one? Mom. So, ProQuest, they do these one-off dissertations, which we also produce here in Ann Arbor. So we'll do 1 copy to 400,000 copies. That's what we do. So it's great to be in Ann Arbor. This is our roots. Thank you.
Let's give John a hand for it. Many of you have had family members that work at Edwards Brothers. It's been a huge employer of Ann Arbor over the years. And John, you look great for a guy in your hundreds. That's all. So let me turn to Mike Brennan. Many of you may know Mike Brennan from his days in newspaper work. But Mike, what's going on? What are you looking for?
Hi, I'm Mike. I'm a recovering entrepreneur, and I'm his second favorite author and radio personality. So I've been producing MI Tech News about 15 years since I left a small morning daily in Detroit called the Free Press. Recovering technology for 35 years, and I'm partnered with WJR. We do tech stuff on there, and I haven't announced this yet, but we just did a handshake deal yesterday with the Engineering Society of Detroit. They're going to be coming on board as a partner along with IT and the D.com, Missionpreneur.com. I have a whole bunch of partners. So we all cross-promote each other. We all hang together rather than separately as private, smaller outfits. And I'm always looking for great news. I cover technology, I cover entrepreneurs, and of course my sweet spot, technology entrepreneurs. Yes, okay.
Any of you out there in that category, raise your
And I
hand.
have business cards. All right, so just my breakfast is over there. I'm going to go eat it, and then you can hear the rest
What
of
are you
it.
looking for? What's your ask?
What's my ask? Gosh, God, like
With a K.
5 million would be a good price. So I asked Ferris, he'll go for it. You got 5 million now. You know for Ferris? I know the Bank of Ann Arbor always has money, right, David? So anyway.
You're looking for stories.
Oh,
That's what I was
stories! Yeah.
getting
Oh,
at.
okay. I thought we were doing the money thing. So, well, I don't know. What are you guys doing? Tell me. I'm not going to guarantee I'm going to write about it or get you on the radio or on a podcast, or we're going to be launching video later, but it's not ready to talk about yet. But if you got a story, that's where it all starts. Tell me your story, and we'll see if we can figure it out. So, now you're all sworn to secrecy on the ESD deal. We haven't put out the press release on that. So.
All right. Thanks. Thank you very much, Mike. Mike Brennan. And I don't know if he's a tech entrepreneur, but we have a toy entrepreneur here. So,
Hi guys, good morning. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've been proud to
What's your
be.
name?
I'm Doug Cass with Cahoots Toys, and yes, there is a toy company here in Ann Arbor. Mary Sue Coleman last year made a presentation at this event, and at the end of the introduction, she says, "Wow, I didn't know there was a toy company in Ann Arbor." And yes, there is. We have a business south of town, and started a business here years ago. But really, the company Cahoots Toys really originated here at Leaders Connect. And what happened, Len Middleton, if you guys know, everybody knows Len from the university, part of the Ross School. He and I had coffee about 3.5 years ago, and we were talking about the wine business and things we're passionate about. And he asked me what I'd done in my career, and I told him. And he says, "What are you doing in the wine business?" He says, "You need to start another toy company right now." And I kind of blank looked at him and said, "Okay." So that was the genesis and the start. And so I put some partners together. I've been in the consumer goods business for about 30 years now, selling to retail. So I called Hasbro, one of the largest toy companies in the world, and said, "What are you doing with Spirograph?" Who remembers Spirograph? So everybody remember the original Spirograph? Well, guess what? There's a company in Ann Arbor that's shipped 3 million of these in the last 2 years. So we're proud to also have... The conversation with Len continues to ring in my head, and one of the things he said is that people in this community need you to do this. And now we are proud to have 11 full-time employees. They're proud to say they're part of Cahoots Toys, which always needs an explanation. What is Cahoots Toys? But Spirograph is a project that we're working on. We're also working on a number of other initiatives. Who remembers fashion plates? The ladies in the room remember fashion plates. We just relaunched that brand. And we're also working on a strategic initiative with Hasbro to do an activity-based program with the Play-Doh brand. So A lot of exciting things happening from Cahoots Toys. I hope to be here 12 months from now telling you I have 25 employees, so really proud to do that. And lastly, I also want to say that I'm proud to be a board member at Big Brothers Big Sisters as well. So Monica and Steve, I've been a part of the development committee the last 4 or 5 years, and it's an incredible group of people. For those of you that want to get involved in another nonprofit, there's more nonprofits in Washtenaw County, of course, than just about any other county in the world. But Big Brothers Big Sisters, really, if you want to impact the lives of young children, it's an amazing, amazing group of people that are doing great work. So really support them as well. So thanks for your time.
I'm Doug, modest guy, but he's been introduced to me by people like Chuck Newman and Josh Kempner as one of the greatest sales and marketing guys in the world in the toy business. So very humble, but a very wonderful guy, and go visit him out. And you guys are still out by Zingerman's coffee shop out there?
Right by the bakehouse.
Right by the bakehouse. So he was mentioning toys, and you mentioned Play-Doh, and that's a great segue into plays. And Jerry from Purple Rose, you can tell us what's going on out in Chelsea.
Thank you so much. Everyone, I buckle up because I've got a lot of information to share with you very quickly because I'm last. I'm Director of Development, Jerry Greenspan at Purple Rose Theater, founded by Jeff Daniels. We are pure Michigan, for sure. A professional, handcrafted theater. All of our actors are AEA, directors, theater technicians, designers from across the region. Everyone is from the Midwest. And we'd like to invite you into our mission, which is to get people talking by seeing our plays and to feel something new. That's what we're all about. We're in our 24th season, and we raise about $800,000 a year toward a budget of $2.1 million a year. So we've really grown over the past 24 years. We have 2 plays left in our season. I've got 4 tickets today, primo tickets, the last ones available for Saturday night, closing night of Steel Magnolias. If anyone would like to talk about a serious sponsorship, I'd be happy to provide you with tickets for Steel Magnolias. They're in demand. And also tell you about Tally's Folly, a Pulitzer Prize winning play by Lanford Wilson. Now, what are we doing coming up? We've got great plays for the rest of the season, but we have been planning for our 25th anniversary. Big, big celebration. And of course, Jeff is involved. He is very engaged and has just delivered to us the 4th draft of his hilarious new play, The Casting Session. And so that is going to be the highlight of the beginning of our 25th season. The people who have heard about it so far are just saying, don't change a word. It is so exciting. But we've got 3 world premieres, and we've got 2 classic plays that are coming up as part of that season. We're launching a 25th anniversary script preview tour. This is the very first outreach that we've done all across the region. 5 stops, 5 counties, 5 plays. And we have new partners. We have partners like Detroit Film Theater. We have at the DIA. We have partners like Cranbrook. We have partners at East Lansing. We have partners like Clear University. So we're reaching out. And of course, we partner with all of our sponsors. I would like to bring special recognition to our new partner since last year, Zingerman's Cornman Farms. That's where our major fundraiser of the year is held, August 2. This coming summer. It involves a wonderful barbecue, the best around in Dexter, and then followed by theater over at the Purple Rose. We'd like to invite you into this event as a sponsor, as a participant. Come enjoy what Michigan has to offer. Thank you.
Very good. You got a lot in there. Are you an actress by any chance?
Wannabe.
Because you could maybe at the speed I made you go, you could do one of those like, one warning about this pill. If you experience it, don't see me. But how people want to be sponsors and get those 4 tickets, just talk to you afterwards,
Talk
right?
to me after.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. And I'm very excited about a couple of things I want to say. First of all, I do have my books here. This is about books these days, so I have my book, Balanced Leadership in Unbalanced Times. And it's done by a local publisher, readthespirit.com. And then also Pet Loss, A Death in the Family, which Bob may be referring to today, because he's trying to help me license some of the content from these books, and he'll be explaining this. So one other pitch I want to make, I have a new Leaders Connect roundtable that's starting Tuesday. How many of you have been involved, if you raise your hand if you've been involved in one of my Leaders Connect roundtables or groups that are going on? Just raise them high. Okay, there's several people that are in the new one. Some of you are going to be in the one starting on Tuesday. I have 2 more spots available, so if people want to participate, I know Kelly, I've talked to you, and Ferris. It's a once a month, 2-hour group where you meet with other business leaders and talk about your business challenges, whatever those might be, and get some expert advice about that. So without further ado, I hope we haven't taken up too much of your time, Bob, but and I also want to introduce Annie Lloyd, who is helping us today. Annie is my associate Dante is unavailable this morning, so Annie's looking to help me, but also, when you want to say what you're looking for work, or
Sure.
Yeah, just real quick.
So, some of you may know I just moved back from New York in September, and I'm transitioning my career from consumer goods and luxury products to marketing. So this summer I'm looking for marketing internships, much in line with Bob's presentation today. So I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you all are too.
So without further ado, I want to introduce my friend Bob Chunn. Bob, in terms of way of introduction, has just moved back to Ann Arbor, much as Annie has, and we're attracting lots of people back. I see Chris back there. You've come from Chicago, Chris, back to Ann Arbor. How many people have come back home to Ann Arbor? Are there those in the room? Quite a few. We're starting to see a trend now where we're attracting talent back, and Bob is one of those. He was 28 years at Borders, and he'll describe it, was very involved with John's kind of world and doing, I guess, heading up the remainders, which how we know it, remainders, but I guess they weren't actually, that wasn't the actual thing, because some of those were published for that, I understand.
Yeah.
And Bob and Chuck Newman, who is his partner, approached me several months ago about my books, some of which are in print. I've got 7 books out. Only 2 of them are actually in print right now. So the idea is, how could I help Bob, and Bob help me by getting the content from those other 5 books out into the marketplace again. And not through the whole book, but through the content of the book, pieces of it. So it's a really innovative idea, and it's my pleasure to present Bob Chunn.
I'm really honored to be here and speak about something that I'm really passionate about. But I want to tell you and confess a couple things first. First was, Chuck Newman, who's my partner, was supposed to be here this morning, and he's not. And many of you know him, but I'm really lucky to work with Chuck. He founded Recellular many years ago. He was an innovator in the space. He knew that, as cell phones were coming into the marketplace, more and more people were using them. There was going to be a need to reuse them, and so Chuck and I got to know each other when I was at Borders, and I was there actually for 11 years. 28 years in retail, but I was with Borders for still a long time, and Chuck and I got to know each other, and when I came up with this idea, I thought of him. I'm sorry he's not here, but Jesse and I who know him well, and our new CMO who's in the back here, Joe McEwen, worked for Chuck at Recellular, and so he's become a big part of my life. The second thing that I wanted to confess to you is, I think it was presented that I'm an advertising expert, and so maybe you came here to hear from an advertising expert about how to promote your business. Well, I'm not really an advertising expert either, and I know a lot about marketing, but I wouldn't present myself as a marketing expert. What I think I'm very good at is knowing customers And I've spent 28 years in all different forms of retail in front of customers and learning about how people buy things, why they buy things, and what works and what doesn't work. And some of the biggest successes and failures of my career in the companies that I've worked for have been about customers and either our engagement with them and giving them what they needed or not listening to them and going away. So an example of that is Borders, and we forgot about our customer at a couple critical points in time. We forgot that they came to us to buy books, and they loved Borders because of how many books we had. And at some point in time, we decided that we needed to save money, and to save money, we cut back on our assortment of books, and we lost customers, and people stopped coming, and then they were going to Amazon. And there's another thing that we forgot, which was the internet. So there was a chairman that we had when I first started with the company, and he said these words, which I think some of you may remember. The internet is just a fad, so we're getting out of business. So we sold our website to Amazon, and Amazon really, they did quite well with the Borders name and selling a lot of books and building a huge business from it. And so I look at those things and I say, I won't forget about customers. And so when I talk about advertising, when I talk about marketing, and when I talk about my business, I always talk about it from the perspective of the customer. And that's what I'd like to talk to you about today. So when I think about advertising, this is my favorite quote. Half of the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is I have no idea which half. So I work hard, right? I work very hard. I have a busy life. I have a family. And when I get home, the thing that I'm looking forward to the most is the guy who calls me to sell me something for my car. I'm not really thinking about that, I hate it when people call me out of the blue, out of context, and try to sell me something. And so I'm one of the 200 million people that are on the do not call list. And here's, from a customer's perspective, let me tell you, if you're thinking that telemarketing is the way to your future, well, this is me as your customer. Please don't call me out of the blue. I don't have a clicker, so I'm just pointing over here. Who remembers this lady from the 80s? The Where's the Beef campaign from Wendy's. I love that campaign, right? I mean, it was a funny commercial. Like, they got a long run on it. They had 3 or 4 years. Maybe they jumped the shark a little bit and went a little long by producing the bubblegum hamburger in a box that was labeled "Where's the Beef?" But got a great run out of this. But today, 86% of people skip through TV advertising. So it's not as effective as it used to be. Again, I work all day, my wife works all day, we come home, and maybe we're not looking forward to the telemarketer calling, but damn, I'm going to the mailbox because I can't wait to get to those advertisements. All of the circulars and the red plum wrap and all of those things that are in my mailbox waiting for my attention, but I don't really engage with any of it. But this is not about all of that. This particular slide is about direct mail. Direct mail is actually a pretty effective way to engage with customers because it's a targeted campaign. So you buy a list of people who might be interested in your product, and you pay a pretty heavy rate to contact them. The problem is that it's mixed in with all of the other stuff that people get, and we're all inundated with communications from companies about their products and about their services, and we see that messaging so frequently we become just desensitized to it, so we don't really look at it anymore. 44% of it never gets opened. So when I left Borders in 2011, and I was the last officer to leave the company. I moved to Houston, Texas, and I worked for a sporting goods retailer. And I had this, I worked for this guy who was brilliant. He taught me so much. His name was Barry Goldware, and I was his CMO. And Barry was passionate about his customer. He was a little lost in his approach to advertising. He was stuck in kind of traditional media, and so we'd argue back and forth about how we should spend our marketing dollars. And Barry loved his radio campaigns, and my point was, Barry, that people aren't buying from radio. They're so inundated with messaging. When they're listening to a program about it's interruptive. I mean, as a matter of fact, it's called interruptive marketing. So eventually, I got Barry to agree to a test, and I went to Oakley Sunglasses, and they gave us 200 pairs of very nice sunglasses to give away in a radio campaign. So we put together this campaign. It ran for 2 days, heavy in the morning, in the afternoon, and at night. And we really put it. I put a lot of work into it, so that I could prove to him for sure that this wasn't going to work. Barry didn't believe me. So we ran the campaign, and it was simple. It was come into Sun and Ski Sports over the weekend and get a free pair of sunglasses worth $150 to $200. First 200 people. No code words or mention the specific radio station or the host of the radio station or anything like that. Just come in. We gave away this many. Five pairs of sunglasses. So I have a bunch of sunglasses, if you're interested in them later on. So I moved into the digital space, and that was my last job while I was at Borders, and I learned a lot about it. And so I wanted to tell you about some of the methods that are available to you to use in the online space. And this is one of them. When I was looking for a slide to explain it, I knew WebMD had banner advertising, and so I went to their site, and I'm scrolling up and down the page trying to find the ad, and it just didn't come to me. I couldn't see it because I'm just so used to being on websites and seeing the banner ads and looking for it. And then this is what they sell me. Which that's not a condition that I personally have. I have other conditions. Steve Gill and I play tennis, and so he'd tell you that I sweat a lot, which is why I have this thing. But what they get out of this, 0.08% of people actually click on that banner ad. And if you use Google AdWords, and this is, I'm not saying these aren't effective and they can't be used, but I'm trying to give you the idea of how few people you're actually connecting with through this method. If you use Google AdWords, you're going to get about a 1% click-through rate on average. Email. This is really just our mailbox, right? The one by the street that's full of junk that we don't want to go to. Now it's on your computer. So 91% of people who ask for email from companies then go through the process of unsubscribing from that email. It doesn't always happen, and some people are better at email than other people are, but the prevalence of those emails getting lost in the mix of so much activity is pretty high. So it's not nearly as effective as it used to be. And there really is a better way to do this. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. So we're going to do a quick activity. There's a lot of people in here, but what the hell, I'm still going to ask you to move around. That's okay. So what I want you to do, first off, is there anybody in here who hasn't done a search with Google, Yahoo, or Bing?
You kidding?
So, everyone. Okay, good. So I put together, I hope that this covers some area of interest for everybody in the room. So what I'd like you to do, I think there's paper and pen on the table. Take 1 minute choose one of these topics that you've searched for recently online. So you're looking for information, you're looking for products, you just want, you've done a search online. So if you could just take a second and write down, you're interested in cooking, fitness, medical, it could be condition, or pets. And you don't have to agree at a table on this. This is an individual exercise.
He should have other.
He should have all of the above. Yeah, right.
One thing.
All right, there's so much talking. I don't know that there's a lot of writing going on. So somebody raised their hand. Someone raised their hand who had. You don't even know what I'm going to ask yet. Someone raised their hand who has cooking written down. I knew this was going to happen. There's so many people who are cooking. Okay, you wrote down cooking? Could you come over here? And what's your name? Heather. Everybody who wrote cooking down, come see Heather. Everyone. Yeah, gather up. All right, so who wrote down fitness? Jackie. Jackie, can you come over here? And everyone who wrote down fitness, there's so many fewer people that wrote down fitness instead of food. I'm so surprised. Who wrote down medical? Jesse, I know you well. So could everyone? This is Jesse over here. Everyone who wrote down medical, stand by Jesse. And the last one. Pets. Who wrote down pets? Pets. Okay, your name is Rita. You want me to put them over there? Okay, so this is the pets group over here. Gotcha. Over here, by Steve and Rita. All right. So this is what, and this could get messy. So we got to do this. We got to do this quickly. What I want you to do is find in your group here, find someone else who's interested in a subgenre. So maybe if you're in cooking, I know this is a mess, right? If you're in cooking, then baking or Indian cooking or something like that. If you're in fitness, maybe you're a runner or you're a basketball player or something like that. So you got like 2 minutes. So talk fast, really fast, really fast. We're almost there. Okay, stop. Stop, we're done. We're done. We're trying to replicate an online search here, okay? So it's supposed to happen fast. All right, so everyone has a friend. Everyone has someone who shares some kind of an interest. It's okay if you don't. You don't have to. All right, so now what I want you to do is to come up with a product or a service, maybe two. But this is going to happen really fast, all right, because we're online. So a product or two that helps you in your activity, if it's cooking or something that you need, okay? So it could be a frying pan or olive oil, or it could be tennis shoes or running shoes, or it could be that you're looking for a doctor or you're looking for a drug. Okay, so 2 minutes. Go! doesn't take this long online. All right. Okay, stop. That's enough. We've had enough fun. Okay, so the cooking group, these folks over here. Oh, your fitness. Oh, your cooking. I'm sorry. I can't even tell. That's so good. All right. So somebody from the cooking group. Somebody come up here. Okay, great. So tell everybody what products. What was the subgenre of cooking that you chose, and what products?
Okay, so we decided on.
Just yell it out, it's okay.
All right. So we started with slow cooking, which took us to crock pots. We then went to Indian cooking. We then went to building a crock pot that has a timer on it that will automatically turn itself on and turn itself off. That's our product.
All right. Okay. So a crock pot. Somebody from the fitness group.
Yeah, sure. We're the subgroup of core exercises and Pilates.
Okay.
So we came up with a monthly subscription streaming service where you can 24/7 do any Pilates or core types of exercises that you want. We're going to do a link to Dr. Rob's chiropractic practice, and we're also going to have experts available 24/7 to answer questions.
This Dr. Rob?
This one.
Oh, this. Okay, gotcha. All right. The medical group. So does that work?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to look for doctors, figure out prescription drugs.
What's the subgroup that you decided on? What thing were you really looking for?
Doctors.
Doctors. Okay. We were looking for like a condition, but it's okay. I understand. Not everybody can
Hard
follow
stools.
Perfect. Doctors who specialize in
Hard stools.
Okay.
My video ran out.
We need that quickly, right?
Move on.
All right, and over here, the fitness group.
No. That was fitness over there.
The pet group. I love
We wanted a product that gave us a specialist for pet stools. I think the other groups got further ahead than we did. We talked about the fact that we were mostly dog people,
Okay,
and then we were talking about the issue of searching online for help with a dog that's not eating. And so I think we came up with just searching for a veterinarian, and I think the rest of you are ahead in developing a product because we're still at vets.
Well, I think you actually just followed the directions.
We did.
Well, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. So you thought you failed, but you didn't.
Yeah.
High achievers.
Yeah.
Unbeknownst to us.
So what we just did, and you guys can all have your seats again. Sorry to make me stand and move around, other than the fitness people who like to do that. I mean, you get a bunch of executives and business owners in a room, and they really, we all have a hard time following direction. That's why we decided to do this. But what we did just now, you went online and you searched for something that was some piece of information that was important to you, and you narrowed it down to a very specific topic, and that opens you up to a specific set of products and services. So you looked for information, you found the information, you engaged with it with someone else, and that opens you up to a specific set of products and services. That is content marketing. That's what it's all about. So when we read, and John's brother is a client of mine, John Edwards. Jim owns Spry Publishing, and John, I think, is a board member there. They produce light medical reference, and so Jim has books about prostate cancer. And this is obviously a very serious topic. He produces these books so that people have more information than they would get from a pamphlet when they go to their doctor and they're diagnosed with this very serious condition. And those people, when they engage with that book, they're opting into a pool because they likely have the disorder, or somebody that's very close to them has the disorder. And so they become prospects for people who sell services around that disorder. So doctors, drug companies, medical equipment suppliers, all those types of things. So that's the idea of content marketing. So content powers the internet. 64% of all website traffic is driven by search. And what that means is, so Google spends all of their time indexing websites, who has what content, who looks like an authority. So when somebody asks a question, they can drive that person to the place where they're going to get the best answer. That's really Google's business model, and then they sell a lot of advertising around it, and that's how they make their money. But their business model is driving people from a question to the best possible answer, using the content that exists on all the websites across the world. And so businesses spend up to $44 billion a year. That's a 2012 number. Terrible with this microphone. That's a 2012 number. It's grown by 34 and 37% over the last 2 years. And almost all companies who are online are doing some form of content marketing, whether they recognize it or not. So again, if you read Tennis Magazine, Steve, do you read Tennis Magazine?
Absolutely.
I do too. So I'm a tennis player, and when I'm reading this magazine, I've opted into a pool. I'm probably a tennis player. And so I'm open to buy things that are related to tennis. And that's how content marketing has worked in the past. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how this translates to today, and specifically how small businesses can use content marketing to attract and engage with customers. So this is my barber, Bill. I don't really know Bill's last name, but Bill owns the Pittsfield Barber Shop, it's over by Trader Joe's. There's not much smaller business than what Bill does. Bill has a seat, and he shows up at his shop, and someone sits in his seat, and he cuts their hair. And then they leave, and he gets another customer. That's small business. So when you sit down in your barber's chair and you're having a conversation with him, because it's really uncomfortable when somebody's touching you for an extended period of time not to talk, right? My wife does the same thing. When I'm talking to Bill, I ask Bill, how is your business? And he says, it's a little bit slow, it's February. I'm like, so every February it kind of gets slow? Yeah. And I'm like, so your pocketbook gets light in February and March? Yeah. So how can you, how do you engage with customers? How do you, why do you think February and March are slow? Was the question, and he said, well, I think it has to do with the weather. And I'm like, well, can you get people to come in when it's cold? I mean, you still need your hair cut. He says, I don't know. I can't afford to advertise. I can't put a print ad together. I can't, I don't have money to do that. And I said, well, Bill has this neat program. You go online and you can register, or you can sign up for an appointment, and he'll just show up. He lives like 5 minutes away, and so you don't have to wait in line or anything. But you give him your email address. And I said, so how many customers of yours have an email address? And he says, well, all of them. So maybe 300-400. And I'm like, what if you could give them something, to just stay top of mind, so that when they do decide to come in for a haircut, they're thinking about Bill and not going somewhere else. And so we talked about, like, what do you talk about with your customers when they're sitting in your chair? And he said, it always comes back to the times when you were little and you went into a barber shop with your dad, And maybe the guy was, you remember him, he smelled like smoke, and he'd cut your hair and call you a tiger, and that was your experience. You remember that. And so Bill is a passionate barber. He went to school for it. He cuts men's hair, and he's proud to do that. And he has sitting on his table in his office this book that's the history of the barbershop from 1860 to 1960. And so I said, what if you sent pieces of that book to your customers throughout the year, maybe along with a joke, and just said, hey, it's Bill, I was just thinking about you, hope you have a nice day, here's something to read, and leave. And then he's got a relationship with his customer. Because how many times do you have a relationship with the telemarketer? Almost never, right? How many times do you have a relationship with the person who sells you a car? Maybe, if they're a good salesperson, So how do you replicate that? That's the way we discussed with Bill, and that's a way that a very small business can interact over content and establish a relationship with their customer. A good friend of mine runs surlatab.com. He was a Borders guy, and he landed here, and he's, it's a big deal. Surlatab is the new Williams of Sonoma. They're taking over the marketplace. Cooking enthusiasts love it. And Kevin has a ton of content on his site, all kinds of recipes and how-to guides, and he has it all there for two reasons. Number one, when people are thinking about cooking, he wants them to think about Sur La Table. He wants to be a one-place shop, or a one-stop shop, for all the stuff you need for cooking and all the information you need about it. So that's one reason. The other reason goes back to Google and the search engines, that for all the content he has on his site, he has chances to bring people into his environment when they're looking for information about how to prepare food. Kevin also has an email program. And this is an interesting thing that Kevin knew. He's a content marketer, so he understands the concepts behind exchanging information for the ability to sell. But his company has been sending product and price emails since they started. And so we all get those, right? Here's a frying pan for this amount of money. Here's a olive oil for this amount of money. It's on sale, it's not on sale, it's new, it's great. And that gets the people to unsubscribe at 91%. So Kevin had a similar experience with his CEO, who really didn't believe in content marketing, and it's all price and product and promotion. We got to be able to track it back to a specific product sale. So he proposed a test. He held out 1 million customers of 12 million that are his email database. And for those 1 million customers, he gave them a video of one of their chefs preparing a meal with a recipe, and then the products that they needed to prepare that food. But it had nothing to do with price. It was the chef made a simple statement, one sentence, about why that product was needed to make the meal. And what happened was he got 2 times the open rate on that email versus just sending products and prices. But that's not all that he got out of it. So he got 2 times the engagement. Those 1 million customers that he sent the content email to, the video of how to prepare food, he got 2 times the engagement on the next product and price emails that those customers got, and a 25% increase in sales from the group of 1 million customers. So Sur La Table is now making a shift in their marketing to deliver more content and less product. So here's the problem, and this is where my company comes in. Businesses need huge quantities of content to make this thing work. Google doesn't allow you to just put up content and be done. You have to continually add new content fresh content that people are engaging with. They have to see the traffic from it. And so businesses need huge quantities of content in order to conduct their business. What's available now is really expensive. So there are authors in the room. You don't charge 10 cents a word if you're writing a book, or if you're providing content, you charge 40 to 60 cents a word. 40 to 60 cents a word. So it's really expensive for businesses to produce content. It takes a lot of time to create it. So it's not, I give you a project, you give me back a finished piece. It's I give you a project, you give me something back, I give you changes, you give it back to me, and it's this iterative process that turns marketing departments into editing departments. There isn't today any online source where you can go and buy content off the shelf. And quality is sketchy. This is an important one. So there's lots of writers out there today who will write content for you, and to some extent or another, sometimes it works to attract the search engines. But I've personally had the experience, and especially when I was at Sun and Ski Sports, where bad content hurt us. So we had great keywords, and people would land on a page, and then we would give them bad information, and they would leave. So incredibly high, we call it bounce rates, but people would engage with the content, they'd look at it, we'd look like idiots, and then they'd say, see you later. And this is an important point. The average article that's written today by the freelance services that are out there is 800 words, probably because it costs 40 to 60 cents to write content that's decent. The reason that's important, so Google did a study recently. The top 10 search results, so this is below where the paid advertising is, the top 10 search results across their entire library of keywords, millions of keywords, were driving traffic to sites that had 2,000 words or more. So what people are producing today is in direct opposition of what the largest companies in the world, the Googles and Bings and Yahoos, are asking for. So our solution, reference books are ideal for content marketing. And I think this is why Chuck really saw value in what we're doing immediately, is because it's not drastically different than what he did with cell phones. He saw a market for a product that had more usable life than what people had given it. And so, book publishers, 99% of what they own sits in archives and is unused and unsold for the most part. It's a frontlist driven business. 130 million books have been professionally published, printed, edited, and sold at one point in time or another. But if you go to Barnes & Noble on Washington, Ann Arbor, you're going to see 70,000 titles. So what happens to the rest? They're sold on Amazon, they're sold on barnesandnoble.com, but they sell, and for any authors in the room, I think they'll attest to the idea that selling a book is incredibly difficult. And you're going to sell fractions of what maybe you thought you would. And so there's this huge underserved market of content that's available, that's been expertly written, that's highly specific, that's significantly deeper. So 20,000 words versus 2,000 words, that's getting the top search results today. And it's the largest source of media. And think about this. The largest source of media that exists today has never been touched by advertising. And it serves the public with better information than you can get anywhere else. So, while I was preparing this presentation, well, I didn't prepare it last night, but I was practicing. Because Rob made me send it to him, otherwise I probably would have still been working on it. While I was doing this, my wife was trying to fix the washing machine. She was interrupting me frequently because she was looking for information online about how to get the thing apart so that she could play with the electronics. So it's still broken. So she was never able to really get through her project. And here's what I'd say. There may not be a book about fixing our particular washing machine, but for all the things that you do in your daily life, there are books to serve that purpose, and they're not being used. And websites need that content in order to drive the traffic. Remember, 64% of all traffic to all websites driven by search engines finding answers to their customers' question. And so my contention is that books are a better source of content than anything else that exists today. So we designed a process to use book content on websites. And I want to talk to you about how this works. So, how much time do I have, Rob?
You're fine.
Okay. So, I'll talk to you about how this would work. When I was I left Sun and Ski Sports because I wanted to come back to my family who couldn't move with me to Houston. And we had a program a loyalty program where people would give us the names of their customers, of their pets. And then we would send them on their pet's birthday a discount, a coupon, happy birthday. And I ran the customer call center and advertising and marketing and the website, social media and all of that. And at least 5 times a week, we would get an email back from one of those customers, and it would say, I lost my pet, so could you take me off the list? And, people are passionate about their pets, right? We had we called ourselves pet parents, and there's a trend in pets that the industry talks about that's pet humanization. And people really do think of their pets as part of their family. And so, we did our best with an email to answer those customers and say, we're so sorry that you lost your dog, your family member, and we'll gladly take you off the list. Sorry about that. And that was it, But really what we should have been doing is to give them something when they were going through this traumatic time that could have helped them through it. And that's one of the ideas here, with Rob's book, which talks about the loss of his dog and how he coped with it and how his family coped with it. And so wouldn't it be better to give your customer this book and say, I'm so sorry about your loss, please let us help you through it. Here's something that you can read that's written by an expert, somebody who really knows about this and who's personally experienced a tragedy and has experience in psychology. So here's a book for you. Please read it, and please come back to us. And so how we make that happen. The book goes on the website, and I'll show you how that looks in a second. When we get an email from the customer that says, my pet passed away, we send them an email with a link to Rob's book. When you're on social media and you think you're having conversations with just your friends, yeah, you're not. So I don't know, I don't know if people still believe that or not, but that's not true. Facebook is an advertising engine, and so within Facebook you can buy space, advertising space. You can listen to conversations, and you can find people who have lost their pet, and you can offer them a book, a conversation, a start to a relationship versus a product or a service or another pet, which they're not thinking about. They're thinking about they just lost their pet. So this, to me, is not interruptive. When I serve up an advertisement or a suggested post or something like that, that's offering something for free to somebody who needs it, that's helpful. That's about the customer. So this is not our content. this is a company called upet.com. It's owned by Cactus Media in Birmingham. What you're seeing here is their content, so they literally cut and paste from Wikipedia content onto their site. So that's what they're describing the Akita dog here. Number one, they're stealing content, which is illegal. Number two, it's duplicate. So Google, when they're out indexing all of the content on all of the sites, they know that Wikipedia had that content first, and Wikipedia gets the credit. UPET gets punished. This page gets delisted from their index because it has duplicate content to what's on Wikipedia. So I wish I could show you a full demo here, but I can't because I don't think we have an internet connection. This is content that comes from a book from a publisher of ours that we're working with. It's called The Mutt Book, and it's about mixed breed dogs. And the important thing to know about our solution is that we are actually reading the style sheet that's on the page. So we have the ability to duplicate the fonts, the positioning of the text, the exact look and feel that they've dictated on their site. If you flip back one, Annie, they cut and paste this. If you notice, their fonts are very different from their fonts up here. What they've done themselves is against themselves. And what we've done is to continue their look and feel, and included all of the images that are inside the book. So, to conclude, I'd ask you, how will you use content to engage with your customers? How will you use content to attract new customers? And hopefully I can help some of you do that. And that's it. Thank you.
Now we're going to have, rather than have Q&A right away, we're going to have some panel come up and talk to you. So those that I asked, Jan, could you join us maybe? Let's see, David, Scott. Okay, so come on up, and what you guys do is you all run businesses, and come on over, Jan, and perhaps what you could do, and Kelly, I'd like you to ask also, do you run a business too, so come on, stand up. And I'd like you guys just to give your response, and maybe if you ask a question to Bob about this, and kind of talk about yourselves, about what you're seeing here. So this is a panel reaction, very quick. Dave, you want to start?
Sure.
Let's say who you are, what your business is.
Good morning, everybody. My name is David Howarth. I work for ETOS, which is here in Ann Arbor. It's a division of Bosch. Bosch is a huge global company. And the president for North and South America for this division of Bosch. Thanks, Bob. That was very interesting. One of the things I wonder about when it comes to content and all of these types of things, it looks to me like these days there's a really high level of noise in all the information we get. You know, I think in terms of signal to noise ratio, sometimes it's really hard to get a good signal through with all the noise. Could you maybe comment or talk a little bit about how you see this approach in helping, I'm in business to business, but maybe helping business to business even, you know, cut through the noise and get their signal stronger?
So it's 64% of all traffic driven by search. I go back to that. So if you're looking to acquire new customers, then having a high search ranking will give you a lot better chance of cutting through the noise to be found. So and Laurie, who's over, where's Laurie? Yeah, Laurie could speak about the difficulty of getting there, getting a top search ranking. One of the criteria that Google looks at, the biggest criteria that they look at, is the depth of content that you have around a specific topic. And so it goes back to that point about, do you have 800 words about something, and you're matching You have mentions of a keyword or something, the question that was asked one time or 2 times, or do you have it 20 times through 20,000 words? And so it's the depth of content and the positioning of expertise that helps you cut through the noise.
Morning, Scott Trosen. Founded the Michigan HR Group in 2007. So we do audits, projects, and outsourcing for small and mid-sized companies and need HR support. So as I was thinking about this, in the last 2 weeks, I think I've had 6 requests for proposals, and I'm sure not all of them will say yes. So I'm thinking, so what can I offer them at sort of the backside of them declining to buy anything right now? Rather than just a thank you email, can there be some content that's offered? So that was the question that I was working on.
So I have a number of books on hand that kind of deal with that topic, which is deals in your area. So what we heard from the Small Business Association of Michigan is that their clients, and for any bankers in the room, I'm sorry to say this, but their number one concern was how to hire people. And so a book that is that tells, even though that may be the service that you offer, content that you can offer them to help them along the way allows you to have a conversation about your position against that book. So you may agree with some pieces of it or parts of it, but it's a conversation tool. So as far as lead generation goes, it goes back to the idea of drawing in viewers based on the amount of content that you have around that topic. But I'd say it's like Bill the Barber in this case, where you're trying to start a relationship by giving them something that's valuable for free. They've engaged with you because they need HR services. One of the services that they may need is how to hire quality people. And so tell them how to do it. And then argue that you're the right person to do that job.
So I'm sort of like, I'm Jan Davies McDermott. I'm the owner and innkeeper at Davies House Bed and Breakfast and Extended Stay Inn on the first fairway of Georgetown Golf Club. So I'm sort of like your burglar. I'm really small and have a no budget. And I think I do engage with my customers from a standpoint of sending them things. My football customers, I send things about Jim Harbaugh coming to town and who are the latest coaches. But they want to know the latest. Who's the next coach being added to the staff, that kind of stuff. Activities and events, sending them when the Heritage Festival is coming and Art Fair is coming and all that kind of stuff. But it had never occurred to me to use books, and so I was sitting there madly making notes about Dale Fisher's book of the views of Ann Arbor that might work. How do I find out about books that would be applicable and interesting to my tourism people who are coming to Ann Arbor? Where do I go to learn more and find those books? I suppose you're going to say hire me, but that's okay.
I'm not going to say that because I
can't afford you.
Yeah. You know what I started my business by working with local publishers, and so there are a lot of people here who write about the Michigan area and who let me give you an example. Eve, who has a restaurant downtown that I love, and she's reopening Eve, and she's written books about her experiences as a chef. And so, you know, wouldn't it be great if you could give your customers her book as you know, here's what's in Ann Arbor. You know, so everybody, you know, the cooking group, they were huge, right? So I think everybody's interested in food. That's an example.
Kelly?
Thank you. I find this very interesting. I'm Kelly Parkinson, and one of 4 owners with Allegro Printmail Marketing. We have, I don't have any family members that were with Edwards Brothers, but I should say that several of our employees have graced your doorsteps over the years. So we're a traditional offset house as well as digital print. And we've successfully made the transition over the past 5 years to provide a more well-rounded marketing experience for our customers. We do produce direct mail, and we need to start producing websites and other things. So as much as we resisted it, we're all kind of have ink in our blood and enjoy that side of the traditional offset world. We've made that transition. So I've listened to this and I'm trying to come up to speed on everything that's going on in the marketing world right now. I don't understand how the money changes hands. So I can figure out how to get Eve's book and provide it, but is Eve going to get paid for the fact that I'm sharing that content? And how does the money change hands in these situations? My clients really want to know that.
So I love that question. So I'm not the first one to think of this idea. In 2004, Google started their library project, and they scanned something like 27 million books. Probably John can quote a real number. I won't put you on the spot though, John, because I know you didn't come to speak. You're very good at it. So yeah, exactly. So getting up is a problem. So Google started in 2004 scanning books with the idea of advertising against them. But the approach that they took was to take the books off the shelf and scan them into their system and start loading them onto the internet, and the publishers just absolutely freaked out. They said, no way. So they took Google to court. It ended up in the Supreme Court, and Google gets to keep scanning books, but they can make no money from it. So I know that, and my approach is to share aggressively with publishers. They get 20% of the top line revenue that I produce from their books that make no money for them today. So I do all of the work. They give us an electronic file. That's all they have to do. And then we go through the process of turning that book from its electronic or physical form into web content. We find the customers. We do all the business development, which is why I'm so thankful to have Joe, because that's his job now. And then we share back with the publishers. So everything we make, they make.
Thank you all. Let me see if we got 5 more minutes for questions. Right here. Just say who you are. And
Hi, I'm Ruth Ledmeister with the Michigan Theater. I just had a question, having just come from the library world, where this was a big issue. When you share that content, do the publishers then see an increase in sales in those books? Since you're not sharing the entire book, I would think some people want to go on and purchase the book.
I don't know yet. So we're a startup. I have no paying customers yet. I'm really looking hard for them. So if there's any paying customers in the room, I'll buy you breakfast, or maybe John will. So,
let me give you a paying customer. Who have you heard that might be a paying? Let's take Purple Rose Theater. If they wanted to pay you, how would that work for them?
So we would have a discovery session. We would talk about. I don't think that I want to answer your question. You know, and then I'll go through that quickly. But so your question is do I?
Would there be? I would expect there might be sales of the book that you're.
Does the book sales increase? So we don't limit ourselves to just giving a piece of the book. If the customer wants the whole book, we'll allow them to have the whole book. We only give a book to one customer at a time, and that's for a specific purpose, and which is that duplicate content gets delisted. So one book to one customer at a time, or one piece of a book to one customer at a time. We do want to help publishers sell their physical and ebooks. And I know from my time, you know, Rob mentioned I was at Borders. I was the bargain book director, and we repurposed books and sold them in a new form. And I know that people would often buy other versions of the same book. So we hope that that's the case, that people will want to buy a physical book. So a lot of times we'll put a link on there. to go buy it at Amazon or Barnes & Noble or wherever a customer wants to send them.
Thank you. Question. I'm sorry. Ruth is with Michigan Theater. Can
Yeah.
you very quickly?
Yeah.
What would you do with Ruth? And
So
Thomas if they wanted to?
So we work with companies in one of two ways. Putting content up on your website is never enough. You can't just do that. You also need to distribute it. So if I'm working with Kevin at Sur La Table, then he has a social media team. He has the teams that help him distribute the content through email, through social media, through content distribution networks to get his message out there and target his customers. I'm guessing you probably don't have a big social media email team. So I would bring in a partner. So one of my partners is Linda Gerard, who's here in Ann Arbor, and she adds services to content. So she has the problem of not having the content. I have the problem of not having a team to distribute it. So we would work together. We would agree on what content you would need, what types of conversations you want to have with your customers, and Linda would help you distribute it.
Well, this is great, Bob, and I think we could probably keep going. If people want to engage with you or invest with you, we've got your email. Could you just say quickly where to reach you?
Yeah, it's Bob at ContentOro, ContentOro.com. Or you can get in touch with Joe. It's joe.mckeown, MCKEOWN, at ContentOro.com.
Thank you. Let's give Bob a great hand for this conversation. I also think every entrepreneur, we have lots of entrepreneurs. Raise your hand if you're an entrepreneur. So you all can feel what Bob's going through. And he's, one of the greatest things he's done is recruit Chuck Newman to work with them and Joe McEwen, and because it's so hard to do it all on your own. And even with Bob's experience, it's taken months, and you still have to get that first customer. So part of the Leaders Connect is supporting these startups. And Mike Cole, Mike, could you just raise your hand? Mike has a great service to help startups from a banking point of view, giving them advice and trying to help them understand the whole wealth creation process, from borrowing on your credit card, hopefully not, but to whatever you need to do. So there's a lot in this town here where there's resources available. So thanks again, Bob. And I just want to make a couple other announcements, and there may be a few others to make. Scott, you have one to make? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just have an ask. I have a small startup entrepreneurial medical device company that's looking for a finance and business operations leader.
Okay, and where could you look for you afterwards? What's the name of your company, Scott?
That company is Hygeia, but I'm the HR leader for
Could
them.
you spell the name?
Scott Trosen, it's faster.
Okay, Scott Trosen. And you got a quick announcement? Jan, go ahead.
I do. For many of you know, I do a lot of work with the Athena Foundation. We are launching the Athena PowerLink program, so we are searching for an entrepreneur. Yes, Roger. We are searching for an woman-owned entrepreneurial company, at least 51% owned, who has at least $100,000 in sales if they're in service-based business, $250,000 if they are in retail or in manufacturing. And we will be selecting from the group of applicants one company who will work with a panel of advisors for 1 year. The advisors will work pro bono with that woman to help her grow her business and make it more profitable. It is an outstanding opportunity. There are bankers in the room. You have customers who fit this profile. There are CPAs and attorneys in this room. You have customers who fit this profile. And if they increase and grow their business, you too will reap benefits inside of your organization.
Yeah, how can people reach out? Sorry.
I have cards, so please see me afterwards,
Okay.
and I'll connect you. Or you can go to athenawashtana.org.
Okay, thank you very much. And there are a few people who are looking for work. If you can stand up if you're here. I've invited some people who are searching, talented folks. Stand up if you're looking. Christina Morales.
Hi, my name is Christina Morales-Hemingway, and I'm starting up a company.
Louder,
sorry. I'm Christina Morales-Hemingway. I am a writer and a director, and I also do coaching, corporate coaching. I take basically everything I learned in the acting world and bring it into the corporate world. So I'm looking for other work too, so contact me if you need it.
Christina is one of these Ann Arborites who've come back to town, so and you may know her from her dad, Elmo, runs Elmo's on Main Street. So welcome back, and I know her work, it's great stuff. Anybody else that's searching right now and just wants to make a quick...
Linda?
Yeah, Linda.
Hi, I'm Linda Miller. I'm looking to move back to the Ann Arbor area. I have a background in business development and marketing and project management. And I'm interested in talking to people who have been in Ann Arbor just to even meet with you to find out what it is that you do for work, so that I can see if there might be a fit. And I'd be happy to talk to anybody who's interested in talking with me when we're done.
Okay, thank you, Linda. And just a couple other announcements. Next month is Bob Quinn and Gretchen Spreitzer, and in May we have a real treat, Cynthia Wilbanks, who's been major assistant to several of the presidents at the university, and as the Vice President for Government Affairs, and is also a board member at the Bank of Ann Arbor, will be presenting. And in June, Tim Marshall, who is the CEO of Bank of Ann Arbor, and has kind of created, I'd say, the Sonic Lunch Program, will be talking about the brand of Bank of Ann Arbor, how he's, with his team, which many of you are here, have helped to create this. And we'll kind of be launching the season for Sonic Lunch. In September, Tracy Brower, who is a learning specialist at Herman Miller in Holland, will be presenting on her new book. And in Jane Dutton in October on her new book. So we've got 3 new books coming out, and we'll have the new book, what's your friend's company, Literati. We'll be presenting, selling books here. And several of you have put cards in here, and I'm going to, Bob is kind enough to promote some of my books, so I'm going to draw some names for people who might want to have pet loss. I got one of those and one of balanced leadership, so let's see who the lucky person is. Okay, we've got High Point Energy, Trish Morgan Bay. Where's Trish? Trish, okay, great. Yeah, so you want a pet book or a balanced leadership book? You choose. All right, go ahead. All right, and hopefully we'll get a pet person here. John Mills. John, if you had dogs, come on up. And John, by the way, is CEO of SimuQuest, which is one of these high-tech auto putting cars under computers. Is that the deal? I don't know which way it goes. Yeah, so John, thank you very much. And we'll see you all next month. Please feel free, a couple things to say. We want to bring back food for those of you that have people at your office that might want some good food, or some cups for coffee. And please see me if you're interested in participating in one of my new leadership roundtables. Thank you all very much. See you next month.